my goal is to make sure that you know how to use Bubble.io, which is a very fine tool when you don't know how to code, but you're a designer and you want to support a nonprofit or a project. Bubble.io is a no-code tool, meaning anyone can use it without any single line of code. So I'm going to show you how I use it with Essteem. I'm going to show to you how to use the code that we are sharing with you from the participant onboarding. So first things first, there is this code that we are sharing with you. And if you want to, I will show it to you here. With the participant onboarding document that I've shared on your Slack, you should be able to see when you when you open it. This is the one for Tolerance Day that we've made last month, but there is a new one that's just for Accessibility Equalithon that you have access to. And on one of the first slides, probably slide number 7 or 6 on your end, there's this link here to Bubble.io. So you got to be connected through the Chrome session that you're going to use, because it will probably not ask you for a sign up. So it's going to ask you for an email once you sign up, and you give that email. It's going to send a link to that email, and then you're going to be able to access Bubble.io using the link. And so it's going to remember your IP, remember your Chrome session email, either Gmail or something, and then you're going to be able to access Bubble this way. That's what's happening for me, at least. So when I connect to Bubble.io, I see this kind of things, get started for free, which is really what you can do, because then you're going to see a few lessons that are made available to you. Let's move on. So this is what I see, and I've got to take lessons here. There's a series of 12 lessons that you can go through, which are really the beginning of everything for you to understand Bubble.io. So we might take the time to do one together, just to show you how it looks like. I'm going to click here. It's going to open my lesson, and it's going to create a whole space, like a whole application for me, but it's a fake one. And you have this pop-up that show, and you just follow that lead step by step. It's well done. And we're going to build an app. As you go through these 12 steps, you learn a lot about how it's structured. But you can see here right away, there's all these things on the left side. So there's a design space, there's a workflow space, and a data space. And then the rest, you can do other things like adding styles, plugins, settings, and logs. So the most important thing is to understand that design is your front end, and workflow and data is your backend, and what's going in between both. So data is the backend, really. I click on data, I can see different data types, which are really just like data files, if you want. You have one data type that's listed here, and that is the user data type, which is made available for you right away in Bubble.io. So you can already have boilerplates, sign in, sign up capabilities that you can then switch and change a little bit. Then with data, you can do many other things. The workflow is where you connect your design to your data, and I'm going to come back to that. And the design is where you create your website and your front end, basically. So you can add visual elements like text, like any kind of shape, document. You have containers that you can use. What they call containers is different groups of designs and repeating groups that are very important for you to explore, because that enables you to have lists of things that automatically pop up, pooling the right information from your data. So if you have a repeating group, you have, for instance, a list of users, and each of the cells is dynamic, meaning there is a workflow that you create that says, okay, in that cell and in each cell of that table, I'm going to pool the data for one user. And one user is basically in here. You have this user table, if you want. And within that user table, you have one field that is the name of the user, the email of the user, another field for modified date, created date, another field for slug, etc. So it's really like any backend, and it's just an Excel basically, almost like an Excel that you can customize the way you want, and you can create the way you want, and you can connect them the way you want to your design through workflows. So back to what they want me to build here. Let's start. We're gonna build an input form. I'm gonna start by drawing an input and a button to let users submit new locations. So where do I find inputs? Okay, I have my design. I am in my index page. Do I have other things? Yes, but I'm in my index here. If I was looking at my sign up button, I would see that. That's not where I am. And here in my index page, which is basically my home page, they want me to draw an input. I'm not sure what for yet, but I see that there's input forms here and input. So I click input. I just click here. This automatically create this shape, and this is going to be an input. So they're actually showing me what to do. They want me to build a search box. I click here, and it guides me like that. So don't hesitate to do that on your end. Okay, just follow the lead of this this learning process. Okay, I'm gonna go back to Bubble. I'm here, and I'm gonna show you the app that we've created. So this was something created through Figma. You might want to do that since most of you are designers. Okay, so back to what we were seeing earlier. On the left side, you see the design, then you see workflows, and then you see data. So here we created lots of data. For that purpose, this is the Equalithon application that we're building. So we want to make it easier for you as users and participants to basically interact with each other and to know who's in your team and to change team, find mentors, etc. Then we want to make it easy for mentors as well. So another user type. And then there are sponsors. So we want to make it easy for sponsors to invite their mentors and then to pay, basically. So we created lots of data types for that, and we can come back to that later, but I just want you to see that there's many kind of tables if you want. And if you click on each table, you'll see for users, we have many fields that we've added manually. We've thought of all these fields. We've mapped all these fields as we should do normally. So it's just, there's a field mapping exercise that we went through before doing all that. And since we're learning as we're doing, this is evolving. I'm going kind of backwards here from the back end to the front end. Up one floor is the workflows for the page that we're in, which is the index. And then here is the index. Okay, so this is not our application. This is the boilerplate that we get from Bubble IO when you create an application. We kept it so that we could see how things were structured. So we didn't remove everything. We want to see how to create this map, for instance. This is an example of a recurring cell, a recurring group, sorry, with cells that would pool data dynamically based on what you enter from your data. So we wanted to see all that and how it was structured, and we kept it. But In addition to that, we created many different pages for this Equalithon application. We originally created these forms on Figma, and then we changed them here. So this was, we connected our Figma space to this here, and we downloaded everything once, and then you can't change things in Figma and re-upload. Once you upload it, you have to work here directly because it's not dynamic, the connection. So what you see here is web pages. You can see in light gray here, it says pages. So these are all the pages that are website, which is a web application with a sign up, sign in, etc. There's a whole member space and things that members or different kinds of users can do specifically and only them. So it's dynamic. It's an application with pages, and it's an application with what they call reusable elements. And reusable elements are things that you're going to reuse in different pages. So you want to build them once and then to call them in the page based on the context of the page, so that the data changes there as well. What I mean by that is, once you create a page, you can attach specific data to it. I'm going to show it to you. We have this list of upcoming equalithons here. This list of upcoming equalithons looks like it's completely empty currently, because it is supposed to pull data from our equalithon data in the backend. So this whole dark gray area is one group that is one recurring cell. So in one recurring cell in a recurring group, you have multiple data that belongs to one row in a data type, meaning here Equalithon data type, and there is one row that has all these fields, a lot of information per Equalithon. And the way it looks like is, when you go to actual app data, here you see how it's defined, but when you want to see the actual data behind it, you click on app data here. And I'm going to go to Equalithon. This is a view where I modify things, so I see everything in that file. This is one row for one Equalithon with all the data for that Equalithon, including the unique ID that you can call, etc. And then there's another row with other data for another Equalithon. Back to my design. This pulls data in one of these rows, and it's going to be the next upcoming Equalithon, meaning that this whole recurring group is filtered and sorted, if you want, by date, and we only see upcoming Equalithons, and we only see, and within these upcoming Equalithons, the closest one in date is going to be at the top, and then the second one is going to be there, and the third one there, and there could be more. If I have 10 upcoming Equalithons, there will be 10 cells like that automatically popping up thanks to the data linkage. So I've linked this page to Equalithon data, and then within this page I've linked this cell in the recurring group to my to be one row that I've defined in my Equalithon data. So I hope that this is clear. I hope that this helps. We saw how we can easily connect Figma designs to Bubble.io, and then we saw how things are structured within Bubble.io with the design area, where you can see the different pages and reusable elements that you have. Then the workflows, where for one page or reusable element, you're going to define different workflows. So here, when I click one of the buttons that I have, here is going, here's what's happening. So here I go to another page. It's just a workflow to move the user to another page based on what he or she is clicking. And then you have the data itself here in app data for each of the data types you have a view, and then you have the data types themselves that you configure in data types here. Then other things that I'll let you discover. That's the basics. I hope it helps. I'll see you soon on the Equalithon Slack.